Disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. We are not facilitating the sale of firearms.
Greetings, Uverse. Welcome to Gunverse YouTube channel. Well, it's finally here. The much anticipated AK versus AR showdown. So I've been teasing this video for about 3 months now. It's taken a long time to get everything set up. I had to complete both of the builds. I had to come up with the scoreboard, all the categories. So I don't have a cameraman today either, so I finally listened to you guys and got a tripod. It was like the easiest thing. I should have always had one, but thanks for your comments. I much appreciate that. So now that I have this tripod, it's gonna make filming a lot easier for me. So alright, let's get into today's video. So today I'm going to reveal the builds, both the AK and the AR builds. I'm going to reveal the scoreboard, and we are going to do the first category on the scoreboard. I don't know why I didn't make the letters bigger on the scoreboard, but I'm about to switch to first person view in a minute anyway to show you guys the builds. So you'll be up close to the board. You'll be able to see it, is what I'm getting at. So we've got, just real quick to update you on the channel, we have episode of Dirty 30s coming up. We have another episode of hand cannons coming up, and per request we have more range time with the 357 Taylor and Company. So stay tuned for that. I know you guys really enjoyed that. Excuse me. So I'm going to switch to first person view, and we'll get into the video and start talking about the builds.
Alright, I'm all switched over to first person view. So first off, I want to start by talking about, everybody always compares AK-47s to AR-15s. Well, in my opinion, I don't think that's a very fair fight, because in my right hand here we have a 7.62 by 39, which is fired out of an AK-47 or an SKS, and in my left hand I have a 5.56. The 5.56 is 55 grain. The 7.62 by 39 is 125 grain. So the AK-47 round is over 2 times bigger. So it doesn't make sense to me to compare a 30 cal to pretty much a hopped up 22. So we are going to put the AK-47 round to the side, and we are going to pick up this 5.45 by 39 that's fired out of the AK-74. So essentially the AK-74 they didn't really change much from the AK-47. It's the same gas tube, same closed bolt action. So they didn't really change much besides the caliber and the barrel. I think this is a much more fair comparison. As you can tell, the cartridge, the AK-74 cartridge is slightly shorter, and the bullet appears to be a little bit longer, even though they're both 55 grain. So we could take out the chronograph as well and see what the difference is. We all know 5.56, 55 grain 5.56 is going like 3,100 feet per second. So we could see with the 5.45. I don't know. I know there's numbers on the internet and stuff, but we could find out for ourselves. So first up, we're going to talk about the AK-74. So this started life as a Century Arms AK-74, and I got a Magpul Zhukov folding side stock. So folds to the side. You don't have a whole lot of room to, pull the bolt back, but you kind of lose a lot of the functionality of it, whereas the AR, you can still, you can put the buttstock in, make it shorter, and still be able to use it properly. So, it serves its purpose, but for concealment, I would say most of all. But still, it's better than the stock wood grain one. And then I tried to keep both builds as even as possible. So the AR has an aftermarket lower, so I got the aftermarket buttstock. They both have Midwest Industries parts. The AK has the side mount, and the AR has the quad rail from Midwest Industries. They both have these wonderful SIG Buckmaster scopes on them. Again, I tried to keep these builds as even as possible. Well, you won't be able to see down it, but you get the idea. And I had a foregrip on the AR, but I took it off because I plan on getting a dong for this, which is a wooden foregrip for those of you who don't know. But also they both have the same scope mounts too, made by the same company. So I tried to keep both of these builds as even as humanly possible. So now that we've checked out the AK, let's check out the AR. All right, so now that we've checked out the AK, let's talk about the AR. So as I previously stated, I got a Magpul edition lower receiver for the AR. So everything you touch, the handle, the buttstock, everything is Magpul. And like I said, I also had a Magpul foregrip, but I took it off just to make this more of an even match. So this AR started life as a PSA Saturday night special, and I've built it up since then. It looks nothing like it used to. Like I said, I got the Magpul edition lower, this Midwest Industries quad rail, which is absolutely beautiful. This thing is so precise. When I took it out of the box, it had oil on it because that's how tight the tolerances are. So they had to put oil on it for you to be able to get it back together. I really dig that quad rail. And then, like I said, we have Monstrum scope mount and the tried and true SIG Buckmaster. So as I stated, they both have the same scopes on them. They're both magnifiable. I absolutely love these scopes. And one thing I forgot to talk about with the AK is bayonets. So I did get bayonets for both builds. I had the bayonet for the AK. I bought that at a gun show in Louisiana back when I had an AK-47. So that's the really cool part. AK-47 parts work on the AK-74, no issues. This bayonet leaves a little bit to be desired, although it does lock on to the bayonet lug. It wobbles all around. We'll talk about the bayonets later. When we take them out in the field, we'll put both of the bayonets on and use them as they were intended to be used. One last thing I wanted to mention about this AR build is, unlike the Magpul Zhukov stock, this, when fully collapsed, is still fully functional. You can still, get it into your firing position, and you can still even use the scope. So that's a huge plus on the AR side over the AK. Although the AK is more concealable with that folding side stock, you lose pretty much all usability unless you're just pointing and shooting. So definitely better design on the AR part. But so these are the builds. I just wanted to show you all the builds, and 5.56 really never got a fair shake against 7.62 by 39. I mean, I know since the Vietnam War these two rounds have been being compared, but it's just they're not even in the same category if you ask me. So if I was gonna use a 7.62 by 39, I would want something like this. This is a SKS with a 20-inch barrel, because I would want to personally get all the juice out of that 7.62 by 39. So I think this is a better option for a 7.62 by 39. Look at that beautiful example. But as far as the AR versus AK goes, as far as the 5.56 versus 5.45, I think this is a much better comparison. And this is a 1 of 3 part series. So this first episode will be kind of quick, but the next 2 episodes will be long because we'll talk about the scoreboard in a minute. But there's several categories that have 2 categories with them. So with that being said, this concludes the build portion. So next we're going to talk about the scoreboard. All right, well, let me introduce you to the scoreboard. So as you can see, aftermarket support is our first category, which we will get to in a minute. So in case you didn't catch our last head-to-head video, this is a Top Gear style scoreboard. If you've never seen Top Gear, they used to get different cars and have different challenges. So like, you know, the Ak74, AR15, they used to have 3 different options, and then they have different categories, and they'd score the categories 1 through 10, depending on how said, category performs. And then at the end, you add all the numbers up, and whichever has the highest number wins. All right, I have the rest of the scoreboard covered up because I don't want you guys to see the other categories. I want you to have a little bit of suspense for next week's video. So let's talk about aftermarket support for the AK74 and the AR15. Oh, wrong Sharpie. So both AK and AR platforms have an enormous aftermarket following for their platforms. So not to be lame or anything, but I have to give them both a 10 out of 10 for aftermarket support, because you can use AK 47 parts for AK74. AR15 is the same thing. There's 300 blackout, there's AR10. So the parts can be used for multiple platforms. So in my mind, they both have to get a 10 out of 10. All right, so AK74 gets 10. I'm going to try to make the numbers bigger this time, because last time they were small and nobody could see them. So AR15 gets a big old 10. Like I said, not to be lame, but there's so much evidence to support my claim as far as the aftermarket support. So both score a perfect 10 out of 10 for our first category, aftermarket support. Stay tuned for next week for the next 2 categories, and the following week for the final 2 categories. All right, thanks again for joining us, folks. Stay tuned for next week where we take these out to the 0 range and put them to the test. We've got the AK74 versus the AR15 head-to-head 3-part series. So stay tuned for next week, where we'll be doing an awful lot of shooting and accuracy testing. So we'll see you next time. God bless.